Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about creating print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that is something that you're interested in, please do stick around. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how you can create this design right here. Now I am showcasing it on a tote bag, but again, you can put this on any product that you like. And because it's a nice circular design, it would also work good on things like pop sockets or any kind of just circular product that, where a circle, works well. But it works good on tote bags, it works good on pillows, it works good on t-shirts, works good on sweatshirts. And so you can put the design really on anything, but I do want to show you how you can get that circular design and how you can use this sort of as a template for other designs. And so if this is something that you would like to learn how to do, please do stick around. So I'm going to go over to the right hand side of the page where it says custom size. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go ahead and hit 4500 by 5400 pixels, and it should pull up a blank page for me. Now, if I'm designing for a t-shirt, for example, I like to design for the darker colors, so I do like to optimize for black. If I was designing for a sticker, for example, well, then it would have a white background, and I would have to leave this background white and, optimize for white. So you do kind of have to think about the product in that way. But I'm going to do this with a dark background in mind. So I'm just going to click my blank canvas, go to the top left-hand corner where it says background color, and I'm going to select black as my background color. Now we are going to be making a circular design. And that does take a couple of steps that might be a little bit difficult at first if you're new. So we're going to go to the left-hand side of the page. I'm going to go up to elements. We are looking for a circle, specifically a circle frame, if we can. And we're going to go to graphics. So click graphics. And then here we have our different circles. And you may have to check a couple of these to see which ones are going to work best for you. I'm going to start with the first one here. Oops. And I'm going to make it white so I can see it. There we go. Did I grab more than one? No, just that one. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, make it big. This is going to be my outer circle. And so my outer circle, I want to be pretty big in the page. And whenever I'm doing a circular design, the easiest thing to do is design right in the middle of the page, because it's going to make it easy for me to line everything up. So when I'm right in the middle of the page, I'm going to get that little cross that's going to go right through the circle. The cool thing about this is when I'm all done with my design, I can group the whole design together, and then I can resize it and move it in the page wherever I want, because if it was a t-shirt, for example, I want it to be up high in the shirt. But for right now, I'm going to design right in the middle. And so there is my first circle. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. So I hit Control D. Okay. So now I've got 2 copies. Now what you really need is actually 4 copies. So you actually need 4 different circles, and you'll see why. So if I go ahead and do it again, I hit Control D. And again, I want everything to line up. And I hit Control D. And I want it all to line up. So once you have 4 layers of the circle, and they should all be perfectly centered in the page, they should line up perfectly because you should get that little cross line between all 4 layers. That's what makes it the easiest to do. And then what we're going to do is we're going to crop them. So starting with the top circle, you can double click, and it's going to pull up, it's going to look like this when we double click it. And from here, what you do is you take the corner and you're just going to slide straight up. Now it's hard to see because these are all the same size here. Oops. But I'm sliding straight up the side. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to cut that one in half. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again with the next layer. So I'm going down to the bottom. So now I can grab the next circle, double click, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to drag it up pretty high. There we go. And now we're going to do the opposite. I'm going to take the next circle, click down at the bottom, double click it. It's going to pull up the little brackets. I'm going to start at the top this time, and I'm going to drag that circle down quite a bit. And now I'm going to get one more, double click, drag this circle down. So if you've done it right, and it may take a few tries, what you should end up with is a gap. So what I have here is essentially 2 half circles up high and 2 half circles down low and a gap in between. And so that is what it should look like. And you might have to play a little bit if you're new to this, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes pretty easy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those half circles and we're going to turn it into essentially quarter circles. Well, actually, we're going to kind of do it with both, but I'm going to take the top one, double click, and this time we're cutting in like this, okay? And I can, bring it down, something like that. And then I've got this one where I can kind of do the same general thing, cut off the edge there. And so it looks the same, but what I can do now, this is why we're doing this, is make it so that the slit is now not just a straight line. So if you wanted just a straight line slit, it would be easier. But if you want one of those slits where you've got, a slit up high and then a slit down low, you're going to have to do it this way. And you're going to have to do it again for the inner circle too. So just to make it a little extra tough for you. But okay, so let's say we're doing that. And let's go ahead and do this one now. So I'm making it into a little bit of a quarter. It doesn't have to go all the way to the center. You just want to get rid of that part. And then this part I can bring up and I can bring over. So something like this. And so now you can see I've got a slit here and a slit here. And so that's how you do those kind of off slits. And so that's the first step. The second step now would be to do the whole thing again, smaller, right in the middle. And so an easy way, oops, hold it proud, might be to take the whole thing, duplicate it, and shrink it. So let's see if I can do that. I'm going to left click all over the entire thing. So I've got all of it grouped together. So now I've got this one group. I'm going to hit Control D. So I've got a duplicate copy of that whole group. I'm going to shrink down my duplicate copy. And again, my duplicate copy I want smack in the middle of the page. And then from there, I can decide, how, big or small I want it to be. So that looks pretty decent. So now I've got 2 rings, right? 2 rings, each made out of 4 pieces. So I know it looks a little bit complicated, but it will be okay. I can take this top ring, for example, and bring it down so that it lines up with the outer line. Take this one, for example, and bring it up. And so I can have a line there like that. Take this one here, for example, and bring it up so it lines up with that one. Anyways, you can hopefully start to see how you can play with this, right? So now I've got other lines. So anyways, I know that was a little bit complicated, but it does get easier with practice. That's all I can say. Practice, practice, practice. You do a few of these, you'll get the hang of it. I know it's tough the first time trying to grab all of these, and sometimes because they're all the same color, they can be confusing. So one thing you can do if you want to make it a little bit easier, it would be to go ahead and just change the color of each one of these so that you see different colors. And that'll give you an idea that these are different pieces, right? And what can be convenient with that, right? Oops. I'm just going to make it so that it's easy for you to work with, and then you'll just have to change them all back to white at the end. So when I do that, now you can see where the different pieces are. Hopefully that makes it a little clearer. Maybe I should have done that from the beginning for you guys, but now you can see the different pieces. And so when you see it like that, you can see how I can now move it around. So for now, I'm going to leave it alone. We're going to put some words in, and then we're going to have to kind of adjust it to the words depending on the fonts and everything we use. But I'm going to leave it alone, and because I don't want anything moving, I might even lock it to the page. No, I'll just leave it where it's at. So let's go ahead and pull up a text box. Let's get the word down here first. So this word is going to go here. I'm going to pull up another text box, and there's going to be another word that's going to go here. I'm going to pull up another text box just so that you guys can see the way that this is going to look. There's going to be words across the top that are going to curve. I'm going to pull up another text box. There's going to be words across the bottom that are going to curve, right? And I'm going to pull up one more text box, and it is going to come right here in the middle. Something like that. So it's going to fit something like that, just so you can see, and these will be curved. So let's go ahead and pick some fonts. Now for this design, I'm going to go ahead and write one that says, forget partying. This is going to say, I wanna. This will say grocery. This will say shop. And then down here, like it's 1999. And you know what? I might even want to change the fonts. Well, we'll see how I do this. So I've looked through a lot of fonts to pick what I want. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is looking through fonts to kind of choose what it is that you want. And so starting in the center, because that's the big bold font, the one that I picked was one called Bad Horse. And so you can search for that if you want to use that one, or if you know what you want, by just putting Bad Horse, and there it is. Or you can just go ahead and start looking through different fonts to see what you want. And so that one was Bad Horse. This one was also a Bad Horse. And then at the top here, the one that I wanted to was one called Organic. I have planned this out in advance, and there are different organics. I think I just had regular organic and regular organic here, and probably regular organic here. I can't remember what I did. And so let's start filling in some words here. So for this one, it's going to say forget partying. And I do want this to be, well, it automatically puts it in all caps, so that's easy. So forget partying. And so it's going to be just like that. And I'm going to have to make it the size I want. And so the size I want, by the way, has to do with the height, because I can space it out more or less by changing the spacing, but the height is what I want to fit in between the two circles. So I want it to be tall enough to fill the space without being so tall that it's touching either of those lines. So I have forget partying, and now from here I can go to effects, curve, and then I can change that curve right there. And that should hopefully, maybe a little bit tighter, something there. And that looks pretty good right there. Nice. And then I'm going to do the bottom, and I'm going to do the same thing. So forget partying. And then this one's going to say like, oops, like it's 1999. And I do think I want to change the 1999, but let's just go ahead and get my sizing here right. So I do want it to be the same size. So I can look up here and say that that was 318. So I can go to this one if I want to and just go ahead and put 318 here. Hopefully that did it. And then I can put that where I want it. And then I can go to effects. I'm going to curve. I need it to curve the other direction. So we're going to go ahead and curve this way. Let's make sure we have it in the right spot. Here we go. Keep curving. Ta-da. Something like that. Make sure it's centered. Something like that. And so far, so good. I'm going to space these out a little bit, but I'm just getting the words in where I want it. Now this one's going to say, I wanna. So, I wanna. Now I can make it a little bit bigger. This one's going to say grocery. Now for this one, I made the G capital, but the rest was lowercase because I did like having those little lines there. I wanted to give it sort of that old school look. So here is my grocery. Now here's where I might have to play, because this is going to have to come down more. And this, I can make it come up more if I want. So let's go ahead, keep the I wanna pretty high in the page. Make grocery about as big as I want, and I want grocery to be pretty big. So grocery maybe about there. And with that in mind, now I can see how I'm going to have to change some of these circles to fit right. Actually, that one looks pretty good, but this one I would need to elevate a little. Perfect. Actually, that fits pretty well on that side. This side I'm going to have to change, but that one fit really well. So then this is going to say shop. Shop. And we're going to, oops, change the size of this. Now this isn't going to be as big, but I do want to come down here. Maybe throw it like something like that. Oops. By the way, if you accidentally mess up and move something, before you panic, go up to the top where you got the undo button and just hit that. And it'll just put it right back. So don't try to move it on your own and freak out and try to line stuff up. So that looks good. I might want to move the whole thing up a little bit because it feels kind of low. And so there is going to be a certain amount of playing around. And don't worry about lining that up right now. Let me get this where I want it. Grocery shop. There we go. Okay. I like that. So once I get the grocery shop where I want, then I'll worry about lining these ones up a little bit better. So let's get the grocery shop. I like where it's at. Now let's get these longer lines to come down. So now you can see why I have 4 lines, because I'm going to have them. Oops. Kind of go to different places. And now the partying is in the way. I can go ahead and send that back. So if you need to get to the layer that you want, you can use Control in the left and right brackets to bring something forward or back. So if I hit Control and I hit the left bracket, it just sends it a layer back. And I can, keep doing that until it's back to whatever layer I want, so that I can get the layer I want in the front. And actually it does help having these different colors, because then I can make sure I'm grabbing the right thing. So that actually works really well there. Let's see. Let's take this. I'm going to send that back a little. So again, you can see how the circle is now going over it. Bring that down there. And grab my red one. Just double click. And then I'm cropping it down to where I want it. Double click. And I'm going to bring that up. And double click. And bring that up. Cool. So now we can see how that worked, how we've got our 4 different circles. And I'm going to make this all white. Or actually, no, I'm going to do different colors, but I'm going to make it all the same color. And so that looks pretty cool here. Now, because of that, this angle isn't straight across. So what I can do, oops, I'm going to start sending these to the back now, because now I want to actually get my forget partying. Get my forget partying layer. And once I have forget partying, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to angle it, and I'm going to move it. And so you can see kind of how I'm doing that. So I'm angling and moving until I get it where I want it. And so lining it up something like that. Now for fine tuning, you can always use the arrows on your keyboard. So the up, down, left, right arrows will move anything you click 1 pixel at a time. So that's what I use for fine tuning. So if I'm having difficulty with my mouse getting it lined up, just try hitting your arrow keys a few times, and it'll make those itty bitty little micro adjustments that'll really help. So I kind of like the way it's at now. I can space those letters out a little bit more too by going up here to where you get that up down area. It says spacing. I can go to letter spacing, and I can bring the letter spacing up just a little bit. And when I bring the letter spacing up a little bit, you can see it just sort of fills that area. And so I really like that. And I'm going to do the same general thing here. I'm going to curve it a little bit. And I'm going to move it sort of where I want it. Curve it a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And move it kind of where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and space this out too, letter spacing. That's also going to help me know if I've got it lined up the way I want. Now I do want to change the 1999. I am thinking about changing the font of just that. So just that. See if I can change just that font. And the font I wanted there was one called CS Roger. So CS Roger. And there's a bunch of them here. I think it was just a regular one. Oh, so it wanted to change all of it. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this in a separate line. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to get rid of the 1999. Get rid of it. But I'm going to still go ahead and space this out. So I've got some space. And I'm going to put 1999 here, but with the CS Roger. So I'm going to hit another text box. I'm going to put 1999. I'm going to make this one, that's CS Roger that I liked. Is that the one I liked? No. Like it's 1999. Shrink it down, because I'm going to have it fit here. Again, I want it to be the right height first. Once I have it at the right height, and then the right angle, then the right spacing, then the right curve. And so little tangents here. So let's see. I can go to effects and I can see the curve that I have on here, 67. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to hit effects. I'm going to curve. I'm going to curve the other way. And I'm going to curve the other way to what, about 67? Let's see. Should be pretty close. Might have to angle. Gotta open that up just a little bit maybe, but there. Space that out a little. Cool. So forget partying. I want a grocery shop like it's 1999, right? So I'm loving the way that this is looking. And in fact, I can still take this one here and space it out a little bit more if I want. Sorry, there's lots of little fine tuning that I do. Again, I like to make sure everything looks really good. Good. Okay, now I really like the way that that looks. So I'm happy there. We're going to add in some different flourishes and some different colors. So I think the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to get my colors ready. That way I can just put the flourishes in and be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the outside border white. So we're going to start changing some of these colors to white. So when in doubt, grab a border, change it to white. And so we can see how this is going to start to look. White. See if I can grab the borders. Again, you may have to play with your layers to get hold of everything, but once you got it, it's easy. Okay. So I got that. Now forget partying. I'm going to do that in a nice bright yellow color. So let's just stick with that yellow for now. And like it's 1999, I'm also going to stick with that bright yellow color. And then I'm thinking I wanted to make grocery shop a nice teal. So maybe something like that. I'm going with sort of those 90s colors, right? I think I'm going to make this something like a nice bright pink. I'm going to make this one here that same nice bright pink. And so you can see the way that this is looking. It's starting to get that 1999 look. And so now we need to fill in some of these spaces. And so there's just those little diamond flourishes that you can add in that are fun. So different ways I can do this. I can put diamonds, and see if I can get the shape, diamond shape. right? And so here's lots of different diamond shapes. So something a little bit more like that, but maybe a little more rounded. You see like those kind of styles. And so that's what we're looking for. Here's one. Sometimes you can get a bunch of them kind of grouped up. If you can't find it here, sometimes if you look on like Groovy or Retro or 70's, they use these a lot and you'll find those. So let's see, I'm gonna make this one yellow and shrink it down. And so you can see how that would look if I tried to fill the space there. So I get a little double there, looks kind of cool. And again, I can use my arrow keys to play with it to kind of space it where I want if I'm having trouble with my mouse. I'm just moving it 1 pixel at a time, and so that's pretty easy to do. Let's get a few more of those. I like that. Let's get a little one. Not quite. I want that one shape. Nope. I want to get as close to that shape as I can. I mean, I guess that'll do. Oh, there's some more versions of it here. A little less pointy. Oh, here we go. There's lots of different ones. That one's a little whiter there. I like that one a little bit better. Let's go ahead. I'll make one pink. I'm going to put a little pink one. Oops. Now I'm getting some layer problems. Let's send that to the back. Put the little pink one right here. I'm going to shrink it down so it fits nice. Ta-da! So that's looking kind of cool. I can do maybe another pink one over here if I've got some space. Let's see if I can make that work. Something like that. I can shrink it down even a little more if I need to. And again, play with my arrows. Cool. Less is more. So that's pretty good. So I like the way it looks right here. So we'll just leave it alone. And so that is my design for Get Partying. I'm on a grocery shop like it's 1999. It's a fun design. It's got those 90s colors incorporated into it. It's got some unique fonts. It all fits well. It looks good. And it's a good template. So now in the future, if I want to make another design with this general style, with the circles and everything, I can just duplicate this page. So I can keep this template, and if I wanted to hit duplicate, I got another page I can duplicate. And now I could put in anything I wanted to put in here. So let's just put text. Could be anything I want, and it could be a totally different font. Maybe I want to do that font there. And so you can see how now I can sort of play with it. It's already done, and so I can use this as a template for different things. Change the fonts, change the words, but keep my circle template and, you know, the cutouts the same. And the font that kind of fits nice. So you can play with it all you want. I'm going to get rid of that. But that's how you can make duplicate copies pretty easily and use it as a template. So now that I have the whole thing the way I want it, I'm going to group this whole thing together. I'm going to move it up higher in the page up here. So I'm going to go ahead, click here, drag over everything, hit group. And now it is one nice grouped image. And so that is cool because once it's not, you know, a nice grouped image, I can go ahead and move it wherever I want, resize it the whole 9 yards. Now you do want it to look like the circle is in the center. So I might play with it a little bit. It's a little tougher to line up because of the text. When in doubt, you can always just make a circle on your keyboard. This is really easy. Take that circle, make it about the same size as the circle you have. You know, this is fun. Center it in the page because it will show you where the center of the circle is. So there's the center of the circle. So now I want my design to line up more or less with that circle in terms of centered. And I may need to play with my arrow keys. Boom. So my design is now pretty centered. I can move that out of the way, and now I know my circle is centered. So that looks pretty cool. Now, again, I can put this on a t-shirt, but what I really think it would look good on is actually a tote bag, because a lot of people use tote bags when grocery shopping, and this seems like the perfect grocery shopping bag, right? if you're ever gonna have this kind of design on something, I feel like you want to have it at the grocery store. That's just me. So I think this would look really good on a tote bag. And Printify, what I love about Printify is they have black tote bags. So I can use Printify, put it on a black tote bag, and sell it on Etsy if I want to. I can also put this on Amazon Merch on Demand. They have their own tote bags, and I can just use a black background for it, and then I have a nice black tote bag there with this on it. And so lots of different ways that you could go. Again, put it on as many products as you like. I just think the tote bag would be a great way to utilize this particular design. But there you go. So when you're ready to download it, we'll just pick a title. And usually I do the title as like the whole thing. It's a little bit long, so you might shorten it a little bit, but forget grocery. No, forget partying. Sorry, I'm already saying it wrong. Forget partying. I wanna, grocery shop. I just went with the whole thing there. And then I go to the right-hand side where it says share. I'm going to click that. You go down to where it says download. Click that. You're going to want it to be a PNG, and you're going to want a transparent background. And then you hit downloads. And so now it will be saved to your download section as a PNG with a transparent background that you can easily then upload to things like Merch on Demand, Redbubble, Printful, Printify, or any of the print companies that you like, and put on whatever products that you like. So I hope this was somewhat clear. I know it gets a little complicated with all the layers. If you have questions, drop it in the comment section below. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can, and I try my best to answer your questions, though sometimes I'm not entirely sure what you're asking without seeing it myself, so bear with me. I do my best. If you have any video requests, you can drop that in the comment section below too. I try to incorporate that into my list. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your sales are doing well. I hope you guys are getting a lot of designs out for Q2. I did put out a video recently on Q2 niches that you should be working on. There's not too many things coming in April, but there's a ton coming in May, so you can start as early as you want on those. And that's it. So again, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope to see you guys again soon. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.